you remember about them? What did you learn from them? And kind of what are you excited for this weekend?
The joint practices, I think, were pretty good, especially against a team like the Patriots, who they ended up being Super Bowl champs. So going against that good of a talent really helps us to kind of trying to see how far we need to go and how far we come from OTAs. So it really helps to gauge, coaches gauge the talent and see what things that we need to improve upon before the regular season begins. But I think this year, us playing Houston last year, we kind of already know what they're going to do and what they're about. But like I said, it's still an opportunity for the coaches to, I guess, develop talent and evaluate talent.
Hard Knocks in town too. You preparing any signature moves? Any, try to get some FaceTime?
Nah, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, like I said, when I come to work, man, it's work as usual, business as usual for me. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary, not trying to get any extra attention, just showing up to work and trying to improve myself.
I guess you're one of the few defensive players that didn't have a position coaching change. But that said, you have a new defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us your impressions of Joe Barry, either in specific instruction or style, tempo, maybe?
He brings a new sort of energy to the team, and especially to the defense. I mean, I like Hazard. Hazard was a very energetic guy, but he did it from a different viewpoint and standpoint than Joe does. Joe's a little bit younger. And he's able to, I guess, relate to us more just because he is younger, and he's able to relate to us more because he's kind of more hip to, everything that's going on now. You see Joe wearing a pair of J's or something like that, so that tells you what kind of coach he is. He's just more, I guess, personal as a player's coach and just, I guess, just more down to earth, more laid back when he's away from the game. And so that being said, I mean, he just brings a new energy that it's kind of really light a fire around here. And I think that it's kind of much needed, especially with the new faces, but just trying to get back to dominating defense like the Redskins are capable of doing. No problem.
Back here, Keenan. You were drafted here. Last year, joint practices, you get to see how a different organization operates. This year, once again, you get to see how a different organization operates. I wonder how that is for you to see, having spent your whole career with one team, how it is to see how other teams do things, and if you try to bring those back here, if you see something you like.
Well, that being said, I think for me, like you said, only knowing one team, I mean, I can only tell stories with my teammates like Hatch. He's been with the Cowboys. T-Knight, he's been with the Broncos. So they tell stories about their experiences at other organizations. But for me, I only know the Redskins. So I don't really know much better other than I think I have it good here. Training camp isn't too bad. It's not a grind. Like the coaches don't try to drag us in the dirt, and I think they try to get the most out of us, but they don't do it by wearing and tearing their players. They do it in a smart way to get the most out of our players, but they back off when they need to back off. And so that being said, I think going into joint practices, we kind of get to compare how our tempo is compared to other teams' tempo. Last year, the Patriots, you seen a lot of what they did differently than us was offensively. Tom Brady ran the show. That's something I've never seen before. I've never seen one player run the show. The coaches stood back and let him do his thing. But on the defense side of the ball, their defensive coaches were the ones, making everything go, making sure everything was done properly. So I just think that's kind of cool to see how they operate differently than us in that standpoint. I think that eventually, Robert and the quarterbacks will get to that point to where, they're, making things go, operating the show. But from a defense standpoint, I think that the coaches got to call the shots because I'm not going to be out there calling, different kind of plays because I'm not sure what's going to hit on third down compared to second down.
But do you ever look at it and go, man, they do that. I wish we did that.
Not really, though, because like I said, Coach Gruden and the coaches that I've had since I've been here, Coach Shanahan as well, they treat us really well. So I really had no complaints so far while I've been here. I've seen, like I said, coming from college, I had Will Muschamp, and he's a guy who we didn't have days off in college. We went 21 straight days in camp. So coming to the NFL, it was like a relief, going through college training camp to NFL training camp, which is obviously, NFL, they have much more invested into their players, so they got to give them a break. But that being said, I think that our organization has it pretty good compared to other organizations.
Keenan, you're working behind a pretty modified defensive line there with a bunch of new guys coming in here. What are the challenges of learning what those guys' tendencies are, and what are the challenges as well of working within a modified scheme?
I mean, the challenge you have when you ever have new guys is just learning how to communicate with those guys, learning how to get on one accord, get on one page, and that's with any defense and with any offense. So far, it hasn't been so much of a challenge just because those guys are really, they listen really well, they're coachable, they're able to pick up on my tendencies, I'm able to pick up on their tendencies, and so there will be plays where T. Knight may want to do something differently than what the play calls for, and he's able to have that freedom because I know that whatever he does, I can just play off him. And so that helps because it gives us freedom and allows us free range of play for the linebackers as well as safeties and the D-line. The D-line get loose, and then we just fill their gaps in behind us. So it really helps to be free and have those type of players who are versatile and can make impact plays any given moment.
Keenan, back here. Without getting into specifics, I think I'm under a speaker somewhere. Every time we talk with one of you guys, you always seem to slip in about how much of a group this is, about how close you are. Good group of guys, even without being asked. Can you, without giving specifics or mentioning names, can you express and tell us why there's more cohesiveness this year in that locker room, why you think it is, and what is here with this group this year that may not have been last year?
I just think it's a whole bunch of guys who are hungry to win. I mean, we have a lot of new faces, and the faces that we brought in have come from winning organizations for the most part. T. Knight, he came from the Broncos. They're obviously a winning organization. Chris Colbert came from the 49ers winning organization. So we have guys who we brought in who know how to win and know how to get it done the right way. They've been on great teams and great defenses who have been, top 5 defenses in the past. So they know what it takes in order to get to the top. And so I think everybody has that same mindset that, okay, this is what we need to do to get to where we want to be. And if we're not doing it, then we're wrong. We're going in the wrong direction. So every day, everybody, like I said, I bring my lunch pail to work every day. Those guys are bringing their A game and practice every single day to get better. And because we all have the same goal, we all have the same mindset when it comes to practicing. We all have that goal of achieving, being a top 5 defense, being, a playoff caliber team, being a Super Bowl caliber team. So with that being said, we just want to be the best we can be. And every day we have to buy into that. And buying into Joe B's defense is what it's going to take.
Keenan, what do you think the identity of this defense is? Terrence Knighton said, we want 11 maniacs running to the ball. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think it is. For me, that's how I play every day. After the injuries, my mindset of the game kind of changed. I was just like, at any given moment, it could be over. So I just played relentless. Every play, I give it my all. And I think that's the kind of mindset, mentality that we had to have. And from a defense standpoint, if you have 11 guys doing that, any given moment, we can have one breakdown. But if someone else is going hard, 110%, someone else is going 110%, that can make up for someone else's mistake. So Coach said, as long as you're going to make a mistake, make it full speed because someone else is going to be covering your back and someone's going to be making up for, your mental mistake. But effort will always outwork, mental errors, so to speak.
A lot of talk. Ryan Kerrigan got a contract extension last week. A lot of talk about Trent getting one. At some point, you're also up after this year. Does that enter your mind at all?
For me, it does, but not really right now. I haven't thought about, since camp has started. I just want to go out there and put my best, film out there. I just want to be able to play my best and just give it all I got because, I'm a guy who I believe in the abilities and talents I have, and so I know that no matter what, I'm going to give it my all each and every play. I want the Redskins to be able to get the most out of me because this is why they drafted me, the 4th round 4 years ago, to be able to fill in for a guy like London Fletcher and then eventually become one of those guys who can be a dominant player on his defense. That's what I'm trying to become. I'm not there yet, but one day I will become there and become that dominant player. So every day I'm, bump the contracts, bump the salaries, all that, I'm just trying to become the best player I can be and let that take care of itself. On the field, I can control what I control. Off the field, that's my agent, so I can't really control that.
Keenan, new faces on the defensive line, new faces in the secondary, but the linebacker corps, for the most part, consistent from last year. How do you feel that helps you going into another season?
Repeat that question, I'm sorry.
Just the consistency amongst the linebacker, like not a lot of player changes this year, despite changes in the front defensive line and behind you in the secondary.
Well, we got it easy just because we still running 3-4. So Ryan, Trent Murph, me and Perry, we still have pretty much the same jobs. Nothing's really changed because the scheme is the same. Maybe how we operate within the scheme is different, but the scheme is the same. So outside backers are going to be rushing. Outside backers are going to be called upon to drop every now and then in coverage. So it's all the same. The only thing that's different this year from last year is the wording within our playbook. So the communication is different. And pretty much every technique that we do is pretty much the same. But like I said, it's just the wording, the verbiage that we use to communicate. That's the only thing that's different. So that's been the only thing that we've had to, I guess, try to change and try to, learn. But everything else has been pretty fluid from going from Hazard's defense to Joe Barry's defense.
Keenan, just to be clear, have there been any discussions on an extension, and do you expect any discussions to occur anytime soon?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really, spoken to my agent, haven't spoken to the guys in front office, so I really don't know. Right now, like I said, I'm just doing what I can control, which is play football. I mean, everything else take care of itself. I haven't really worried about that just because I know, eventually when that point comes, it will come. So it'll take care of itself.
Keenan, I know the last couple of years you've been dogged by injury, pecs and then knee, last year different things, but is there anything that you had to change about this offseason, anything that you wanted to revamp to make sure you can stay healthy?
Not really. I mean, last year I did a pretty good job of making sure my body was in a great position to be able to play all throughout the year. And last year I had that freak injury last year. I mean, I got hit in the side of my leg. That's something I really can't avoid. No matter how much prehab I did, I wouldn't be able to avoid that. But I just did pretty much the same things I did last offseason. I did this offseason to make sure that I came into training camp and as healthy as possible and gave myself the best opportunity to stay healthy throughout the season. And that being said, there's really not much that I did differently. I thought last year's formula worked, so I pretty much stuck to it this year. And I think that, it's depending on how this year goes, it'll be a formula I carry out for the rest of my career.
Thanks, Keenan.
No problem.